Our dear esteemed viewers, welcome you back to another episode of the SIRE'S. I'm Regina Naluja with my colleague.
Was a Simon.
Yes, right about now, we're going to talk about climate change. Previously, in our video, we talked about environment. Do you know that climate change is related to the environment?
Yeah, it is
Yes,
actually
and
they are
how we
brothers.
take care of the environment influences climate change. And climate change has been a major topic among people nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes. So what's climate change and what's changing about the climate?
Okay, when it comes to climate change, it's just about the way the interchanging of climate and the various temperatures of I would say the atmosphere and the world at large. That is basically climate change. Like the shift in the temperatures and the change of the patterns of climate.
People talk a lot about climate change. Is it changing in a positive way or a negative way? But me, I believe the climate is changing in a negative way. And that's the reason why people are coming up, different organizations are coming up to address this issue of climate change. What's changing about the climate?
Okay, actually, as per now, as you said that the climate is actually changing in a very negative, not even just a negative way, but a very negative way. When I remember the history of Uganda and what it is right now, it is not connecting. Before it was the Pearl of Africa. It was named as the Pearl of Africa.
So we were named the Pearl of Africa because of our good climate. Yes.
Everything was natural. But as per now, the truth is, it is getting destroyed slowly by slowly. Take a note, carbon dioxide has been increased by the burning of fossil fuels. And again, you're going to realize that we are doing a lot of deforestation. Yet the same trees are the ones supposed to absorb the carbon dioxide to filter the air. You get me? Because the trees are one of the major importances of these trees is to filter the air. They produce oxygen, which we use, and then they absorb carbon dioxide. Now, take a note that they have been cut down.
Okay, growing up, we were told that climate is the average weather condition of a place. So, meaning this climate change is generally affecting the weather condition.
Exactly.
It's also affecting the seasons.
Exactly.
If weather is affected, even the seasons are affected.
Exactly.
And in Uganda, right now, we're talking from Uganda. Uganda relies so much on agriculture.
And you can actually testify.
If the weather is affected, the seasons are affected, and even a farmer is affected. No. Could it be that this climate change may also lead to famine in a long run?
Exactly. Take a note now. Look at the way things are moving on. Actually, I started recording this from I think 3 years before, and I saw how seasons were interchanging. Seasons have started to change. I remember it was around 2021. Farmers were expecting rain because it has always been around March, April, around there, and it took up to June without them seeing any rain. Now, the ones that had prepared in that season, they had actually, some of them had already started planting. There was no rain to be seen. Right now, we are in a place whereby we are expecting plenty of rainfall because it is the second season of in terms of agriculture. But when you get to realize is that some countries are experiencing a bit of rain. Some countries, some areas, parts in Uganda. I was in Jinja, I think last week, and the place is dry, very dry, too hot. And yet, a week before I was in Fort Portal, and it was raining in Fort Portal. But even the way it is raining, it is dangerous.
How?
It has started causing storms, hailstorms, which we didn't have before. But all of those things are happening only because of the climate change, like the acts that humanity has put. I'll talk about apart from just agriculture, climate change affecting agriculture. We have seen uh, the loss of species, animal species. Back then, I was asking myself, if we read about certain documentaries, we see that there are some animal species that used to exist, but right now they are no longer existing. But I got to realize that it is only because of climate change. For example, when the greenhouse formation or the greenhouse gas becomes too much, uh, heat is going to be too much, and there are some species that cannot bear that too much heat. There are some species that are living in the oceans. Oceans are the heat in the oceans are actually, when right now you make research, the oceans the ocean waters have started to get to generate that too much heat, which some fish species cannot afford. So what happens? We lose that species because it is already destroyed. We are now we are no longer preventing.
So
We
are
are
we trying
curing.
to bring it back?
No, like
How can we bring it back?
I'm talking about curing now because they say prevention is better than cure, but we failed to prevent. Now we are supposed to cure, but unfortunately we have few people that are believing in this because we are in the world that is looking at economic system as finances, not understand that even when the ecosystem is well, the economic system is going to also grow well. You get me? For example, when you talk about wildlife, when these species, all of these, them are here. Tourism is one of the best, and in Uganda actually, and in Africa, it is one of the most industries that generate a lot of income and they grow the economy. You get me? So I think right now some, I believe there are some uh, organizations that have come up giving us advices and teaching us how to do this thing. But what we should do, it is supposed to be a personal basis because you get to realize that even here in Uganda, where someone had a tree or a forest, they are cutting them down to construct a house. You see, settlement has become all that they need. They are focusing on basic needs. Now, we need more enforcement to teach because without knowledge, we cannot do anything.
Okay. Can people observe what's happening and go on to
It's
see that
it's
they
hard.
divert what has already happened?
It's hard.
Because I think it's affecting us,
Yeah.
and it's affecting us on an individual basis. Why is it that people are looking beyond their positions? Why is it that people are looking at organizations? Why is it that people are looking at government? Yet, they are the same people who are responsible for this climate change. After facing disasters, we always go back and say the government is not helping. But still, I believe it has to go back to us. We have to help each
Now,
other. We have to make sure we don't reach that level.
now exactly what you're talking about is right. It is what is supposed to be, but unfortunately, it goes back to ignorance. Because when you're ignorant about something, people don't know that the many diseases they are treating, it is because of the environment and the atmosphere they are living in. They don't know that. People are so much, as I told you, people are so much focusing on how to live and survive. Actually, we have men that are calling themselves survivors. You see, government has been actually trying to protect the lakes from the fishermen, and actually at the end they had to complain because for them all they are thinking about is to get to earn from the lakes, but not to preserve what is in the lakes or to improve on what is in the lakes. You get me? So uh, we have seen places whereby the government is trying to bring back agriculture in people, but you see, before, it has always been industrialization. Plastics and everything is everywhere. People are burning, rubbish everywhere. Whenever you burn those gases, it can be a small act to you, but the more you continuously do it, the more it affects the environment. You get me? So The government has also put measures of recycling. I see garbage trucks coming to collect garbage now instead of people just burning garbage. You get me? So government, I'm seeing that government is trying to do, but the way the government is doing it, it's not that it is protecting. It is not so clear, or it has not put it to people that it is directly protecting the environment, but it is like it is doing its responsibility as the government to keep
and
people.
we also should do our responsibility.
Exactly.
We are the root cause of it all.
And actually, I think it is one of the reasons why we are here, to teach people, to show people what they're supposed to do, to show people the dangers. I think in the next episodes we shall be talking about the physical dangers that we have seen happening because of this, because there are some dangers that have happened and people don't know that they happen because of this. They just see and they are like, the government yet the government yet. They don't know that they were the cause of the same thing. So I think we need to bring in more episodes. If you're there and you have any, this is like a gospel, the gospel that everywhere it has to be preached. Everywhere it has to be preached. Now, if you are anywhere and you can do anything in your capacity to talk about this, a word you tell to a person can change the environment. You get me?
And even leaders, local leaders.
Yeah.
Actually, the government starts from our local leaders, the local councils, the mayors. Those local leaders have a huge burden on them. If somebody does an activity which leads to negative climate change, or which degrades the environment, he has to be penalized by the law. He has to be punished by the law. But I think the law is weak concerning that.
Actually, it's not about our law being weak, but the people who are amending the laws and that are supposed to enforce the laws are the ones that are breaking the laws. You get me? So you cannot come to me telling me that you constructed in a wetland, yet you also constructed in the wetland. So I think the law has to start from, they have to be an example. The leaders, the ones that are trying to enforce the law to us, they have to be an example. Tell me to not to cut a forest when you have planted a forest. I'll have an example to look at, and I'm like, our leader is planting trees. Let me also plant trees. But you are the one advocating for not for people not cutting trees, but you're the one actually constructing in places where trees have been.
Okay.
You get me?
All in all, it goes back to our laws.
Yeah.
The laws that regulate the country, the laws that regulate the areas where we reside.
Exactly.
Yes. If the laws are not enacted, people will go on claiming it's ignorance. People will go on doing activities that degrade the environment, that will negatively impact our environment. Thank you so much for watching us on the SIRE'S episode. I remain Regina Naluja with my colleague
What's Simon, and we request you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the SIRE'S episodes, because when you do that, you're giving us more energy to bring to you this information so that you can share to many people that don't know and might be in need of it.